What I'm going to show today is a little agent that I've been working on. So last week we had a little hackathon at Solomon's house. A couple of folks from our community showed up and worked on some agents using some experimental Dagger technologies. And I was able to get one to work specifically with the goal of doing some like QA on my own modules. So I published a handful of modules in the Daggerverse. Um, that do different things. Like if I just search for myself, you'll see there's a bunch of modules. One of them that's useful is Docusaurus. So if you're running Docusaurus docs and you want to like create a sample of that for yourself for testing or previews, it's a really great module. But there's a bunch of others, and like I've been working on these for over a year. Some of them are like very up to date, some of them are not. So I was thinking of using some of these cool new technologies to help me just like be a better maintainer of my own modules. So I started working on this agent, and it's a very simple thing. So I have like the common pattern right now is an agent has like it's a Dagger module that takes some instructions, and then it's a different Dagger module that provides like an environment for the agent to do its work. So I'll just walk through and show just a quick overview of what that looks like here, where like this is my workspace or environment where basically I'm creating a container with Alpine in it and also running Dagger nested. So this is like using Dagger and Dagger to test Dagger modules. And this is actually a common question we see in our Discord. People are always asking how to, test out a Dagger module. And like this is the secret incantation using this experimental privilege nesting flag in your with exec will allow you to actually pass along your uh, kind of container resources onto Dagger, so it can continue to launch containers. Anyways, this is a very simple module. It basically can do four things. It can read files, write files. You can install Dagger modules, and it can build Dagger modules to extract their functions. Oh, sorry, one more thing. It can get the version of the Dagger engine that's available to it. So using this like workspace that the agent is able to operate in, I then have a separate module that basically tells it to do QA. And do QA is a Dagger function like any other that accepts an optional module as a string, and it'll grab that workspace and it'll execute a prompt. And the prompt is pretty long. Um, we don't have to read the whole thing, but it's essentially saying you're a great QA engineer, do some QA in the modules that you're provided, and then give me a report back with some suggestions on how I can improve my module, and give me that file. So let's just see this in action. Going back over to Ghosty here, I'm inside of the Dagger module that contains both the environment and the agent module itself. And I have this function called doQA, and I'm able to pass it a specific flag, right? So here I'm passing this Docusaurus module as an argument. And then once it's done, it's going to return a container basically. So I'm going to grab this QA folder and export it back to myself, to my laptop, so we can look at it. So this starts to do stuff, and you can see that the prompt was executed. You can see, and we can actually follow along in Dagger Cloud as well. So here, you see the prompt that I was given. You'll notice how that template was kind of processed. So it injected the module I passed in into the prompt, and it kind of gave it these instructions, and the agent starts to work. So you can see it's grabbing its workspace, it's getting the version number because it's going to need that later when it writes its report, and now it's installing my module. It's trying to build it to grab the functions. So it's doing the things I told it to do, but notice how it's specifically doing this tool calling. It's calling the functions that are available to it in this environment to achieve the goal that I set out for it to do. And once it's done achieving that goal, it will then write this report for me in this QA directory, and it's going to save it, and it's saying, yes, I'm done. And that's great. So is it done? Did it actually do anything? That's the question that I always ask myself. And luckily, I'm able to kind of see for myself. So here inside of my QA directory, I do see this file. So this file right here came from like the container that the agent was operating in, and they exported it back out using the same exact Dagger export system that exists for all other code. And we'll see that it created this really nice little report in Markdown. So let's just look at it as Markdown preview, and it did a pretty good job. It figured out that this was oh crap, sorry. I'm in VS Code. Okay, cool. Yeah, so like it did a pretty good job, right? It got some interesting information. It wasn't like it didn't succeed at finding the latest version because my modules are versioned, and for some reason it's not detecting them, and similar to the release date. It also can't find the Dagger trace, so still a little bit of work. I need to do some more QA on my QA module or my QA agent, but it did find the right Dagger engine version and reported it here. It figured out what the module does somehow. It it did not was not able to find out what modules, which bums me out because it definitely has the ability to do so. So again, I need to do some more QA, but it gave me these suggestions, and I actually don't know if these are good or not. We'll be able to read them and take a look. It's talking about, hey, you should do some input validation. You should pin your version. So I don't actually know if these are legit suggestions or not, to be honest with you. But at least like the general kind of framework for what I want this to look like exists, and I'm happy that the report is in the correct form. So um, so I'm pretty happy with this, to be honest with you. Like, I think that some of this is like real and some of this is made up, but with some additional iteration and some additional maybe prompt massaging, I'll be able to get a pretty good result. And um, and that's great. So the title of this section was Autonomous QA Agent, which is extremely ambitious, and it's absolutely not what I just showed you. So how do we make this autonomous? That's the question, right? And here's what I think. Step one is, instead of me having to pass along um, a module explicitly, what would happen if I just said do QA? Well, what it'll do is it'll just go find some module. And this is using our kind of like a secret Daggerverse API that maybe I shouldn't be talking about, but like there's a way to get all the modules from Daggerverse and look at them all. And it's using that to just grab one. So this is randomly grabbed the GraphQL module from this user. And it's going to do the exact same thing that we just saw. So that's, in my mind, that's like step one of being autonomous, is being able to just like find other modules instead of having to be explicitly instructed to, grab the module that I just gave it. So it's going to do its thing. It's going to try to install some stuff. This one is like, I've never used this module before, so I have no idea what's going to happen. And we're going to learn together. And you know what's funny? I'm actually just going to try this against the one we just saw. So the iTwin AI module that we just saw in action earlier, I'm just curious what my little agent's is gonna tell, is gonna say. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, I see so many ways that we could use this from a community experience perspective too, of just like continuously going through all those modules, pinging people on Discord somehow, and saying, "Hey, update your module." It's
Yep.
really cool. There's a lot of things.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's my dream too, is um, like find the right way to engage. So I have like some wish list items here while that's running. Like this is still incomplete. I think this is like a decent. I think it's like interesting enough to show, but there's so much work that I still want to do on this. And specifically, I want to be able to do more than one thing at a time. The technology exists. I know it does, but I cannot figure out how to use it properly. And you'll notice that I do want to show one thing. Um, this is all public, so I'll share a link afterwards in GitHub. But the code to grab like the list of modules is pretty straightforward. I'm using JQ, grabbing from this endpoint, and like jumping it into a JSON file, and then I have a separate function called sample that just grabs one. This used to be 10, so it used to do 10 at a time, but I've found that it wasn't able to actually finish, and it wasn't able to continue once if it ever failed. So I got to figure out how to get it to maybe make one more layer of sandbox, so it kind of dispatches jobs. It doesn't let it fail the main process. I don't know. So some experimentation left to do, but it's definitely going to be possible to do more than one at a time, which I think will be a big benefit, because otherwise it's just too slow. The next thing is I want to be able to test with multiple versions of Dagger Engine. So right now my workspace is kind of hard coding the latest version of Dagger, and I want to change this to be parameterized and have a default of the latest. But this will allow us to have a really nice little table that says your module works with the last X versions of Dagger or not. And then, of course, get some cron jobs to make this thing just run all the time. And then I do have a Novu notifications module that I wrote, and I want to use it for this. So I imagine, like, I'm not going to start just emailing people. I think it's kind of annoying, maybe, I don't know. Or certainly, like, there should be some sort of opt-in mechanism, I think. I don't know. But for me personally, I want to email myself and be like, hey, like, my modules aren't working. And I would love to just learn about that as like whenever that becomes true. Even if, I don't want to have to go manually kick off a bunch of jobs whenever the API changes or a new version of the engine is out. It would be great to just be notified that something went wrong. So these are all my kind of next goals. And once I get through this list, I might come back and show that in action.
Yeah. Awesome.
But in the meantime, we can look at the intertwin CI module and let's see what this QA agent said. And I would love to get a validation if this is BS or not. But so far so good. And it's funny enough, it's saying, hey, this is the kind of advice you paid top dollar for. Because notice it's the same exact advice. It was like, hey, have you thought about version tagging and doing some more module docs? I think it's BS because I was looking at your code and you have like amazing docs. Like even if you look in the Daggerverse itself, like it's very well documented. So shame on this module for giving this generic feedback. Let's see, anything? No, it's the same. It's funny. It's kind of funny. It's literally the same exact feedback. So we got to work on that. But it was still fun. Hopefully this is a good kind of example of what's possible with this technology, and I'm excited to see it continue to improve. By the way, all this demo was using Claude from Anthropic, but I do want to try this like with I'm going to add that as an item, multi-model. Like multi-model just in general. I want to do it with different models and see which one has a more interesting result, but also allow folks to just kind of run this with additional agents to see if there's more valuable QA that can happen.
Awesome. And one thing that I think is interesting to call out too for people who are looking at this, not only can you look at your example, to build their own, but we have our agents quick start as well. So people can use that to get started. But now all those, all these modules and functions that you've built are in the Daggerverse. So, as you want to pull them, like you're saying, now you can use a Novu module in this, which I know you came on the community call months ago using that, and it's still useful and being used in many things. So, build it once, and now everyone can use it continuously.
Yeah.